history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My
Welcome to Musings of a Cigarette-Smoking Man. I'm Stephen Lake. Today we wade into the murky waters of Mossad and Zionism. It's a landscape of shadows and shifting allegiances, where the lines between right and wrong blur. This isn't a simple tale of heroes and villains, but a complex examination of power, ideology, and the human cost of conflict. We'll dissect Zionism, from its idealistic origins to its modern-day political manifestations, exploring its diverse interpretations and the controversies it sparks. Then we'll delve into the clandestine world of Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, navigating its operational methods, ethical dilemmas, and the weight of its legacy. Our journey will span historical epochs, from the seeds of Zionism in late 19th century Europe to the post-9/11 realities of global counterterrorism. We'll grapple with conflicting perspectives, from the fervent believer to the ardent critic, always striving for a balanced and nuanced understanding. Forget the spy thrillers. This is about power, politics, and the stories that remain hidden in the smoke and mirrors. Are you ready to see the world as it really is? understand the complexities of Mossad's later actions and its relationship with Zionism, we need to delve deeper into the pre-1948 history of the Zionist movement. This era shaped the ideological foundations, strategic objectives, and inherent challenges that would later influence the agency's formation and operations. Zionism wasn't a monolithic entity, but rather a collection of diverse ideologies and approaches, each with its own vision for the future Jewish state. The strains of Zionism, a deeper dive. Labor Zionism, primarily associated with figures like David Ben Gurion, pre-state. Labor Zionism envisioned a socialist Jewish state built on principles of social justice and equality. It emphasized the importance of Jewish labor in reclaiming the land and establishing communal settlements known as kibbutzim or moshavim. Their tactics focused on building a strong economic base through agricultural development and establishing labor unions to protect workers' rights. Politically, they aimed to gain control of key institutions, the yeshiv, the Jewish community in Palestine, to implement their socialist agenda. Religious Zionism. For religious Zionists, the return to the land of Israel was not merely a political aspiration but a divinely ordained mission, a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Figures like Rabbi Abraham Isaac Kook saw secular Zionist efforts as a precursor to the Messianic era. Their goals included establishing religious institutions and promoting Jewish religious observance in the yeshiv. They often clashed with the more secular elements within the Zionist movement regarding the role of religion in public life. Revisionist Zionism, led by Zev Jabotinsky. Revisionist Zionism advocated for a more assertive and militaristic approach to achieving statehood. They believed that only a Jewish legion, a strong military force, could secure a Jewish state. Their tactics included lobbying European powers for support, promoting Jewish self-defense, and advocating for large-scale Jewish immigration to Palestine. They differed from labor Zionists in their emphasis on private enterprise and their opposition to socialist policies. General Zionism, representing a more centrist position. General Zionism encompassed a broad range of individuals, supported the establishment of a Jewish state, but did not subscribe to any specific ideological platform. They prioritized practical efforts such as land acquisition, settlement building, and economic development. Figures such as Chaim Weizmann, who focused on diplomatic efforts to secure international recognition for Zionist goals, were considered to be general Zionists. Key figures beyond Herzl. Chaim Weizmann, a biochemist by training, Weizmann was a master diplomat who played a crucial role in securing the Balfour Declaration in 1917, in which the British government declared its support for the establishment of a national Jewish home in Palestine. He served as the president of the World Zionist Organization for many years, navigating the complex political landscape of the interwar period. David Ben Gurion, pre-1948. Before becoming Israel's first prime minister, Ben Gurion was a leader within the labor Zionist movement. He focused on building a strong organizational structure for the yeshiv, promoting Jewish labor, and advocating for a socialist agenda. His pragmatic approach and leadership skills were crucial in uniting diverse factions within the Zionist movement. Challenges faced by early Zionists. Internal disagreements. The diverse ideologies within the Zionist movement often led to intense debates and disagreements over strategy and goals. Labor Zionists clashed with revisionist Zionists over economic policy and military tactics, while religious and secular Zionists debated the role of religion in public life. Opposition from Ottoman authorities and Arab populations. The Ottoman Empire, which controlled Palestine until World War I, initially opposed Zionist settlement efforts. Arab populations also voiced increasing concerns about Jewish immigration and land acquisition, leading to tensions and occasional violence. The Balfour Declaration. While a significant diplomatic achievement, the Balfour Declaration also created new challenges for the Zionist movement. It raised expectations among Jews worldwide, while simultaneously fueling Arab resentment and leading to conflicting interpretations of British intentions. The Declaration, while promising a homeland, also stipulated that nothing should be done to prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, a source of future conflict. The birth of Mossad, protecting the nascent state, detailed Genesis. The State of Israel was declared on May 1948, but the fight for its survival was far from over. The nascent state faced immediate threats from hostile neighbors and internal security challenges. In this environment of existential peril, the need for a centralized intelligence agency became glaringly apparent. Thus, in 1949, the Mossad, the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, was born. Political and security context. The political landscape surrounding Israel's birth was volatile. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War had just concluded, leaving deep scars and unresolved issues. Border skirmishes were frequent, and the threat of a renewed conflict loomed large. Internally, the new nation grappled with integrating a diverse population of immigrants and maintaining social cohesion. In this atmosphere of constant threat, intelligence gathering and covert action were seen as vital tools for survival. The influence of Ben-Gurion and Shiloh. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, recognized the crucial importance of a strong intelligence apparatus. He entrusted Reuven Shiloah, a close advisor with extensive experience in intelligence work, with the task of creating such an agency. Shiloah is considered the architect of Mossad. He envisioned an organization capable of operating covertly and effectively to protect Israel's interests, both at home and abroad. Ben-Gurion provided the political backing and resources necessary to bring Shiloah's vision to fruition. Together, they laid the foundational principles of Mossad: secrecy, operational flexibility, and unwavering loyalty to the state. Post-Holocaust trauma and ethos. The Holocaust cast a long shadow over the newly formed State of Israel. The systematic extermination of 6 million Jews left an indelible mark on the national psyche. The survivors who immigrated to Israel carried with them the trauma of persecution and the determination to ensure that such atrocities would never again happen. The collective trauma profoundly influenced the ethos of Mossad, instilling a sense of urgency and a willingness to take extreme measures to protect the Jewish people. The agency became a symbol of Jewish resilience and a means of exacting retribution against those who sought to harm Israel. Initial funding, recruitment, and structure. Mossad's initial funding was modest, relying heavily on contributions from Zionist organizations and private donors. Recruitment focused on individuals with diverse backgrounds, including veterans of Haganah, the pre-state Jewish paramilitary organization, intelligence operatives from various Zionist groups, and immigrants with specialized skills. The organizational structure was deliberately kept lean and decentralized, allowing for flexibility and adaptability. The agency was divided into several departments, each responsible for specific areas of operation, such as intelligence gathering, counterterrorism, and special operations. Relationships with other intelligence agencies. In its early years, Mossad forged close relationships with several Western intelligence agencies, particularly the British MI6 and American CIA. These relationships provided Mossad with access to valuable resources, training, and intelligence. However, the relationships were not always smooth, as differing priorities and operational methods sometimes led to tensions. Mossad also established contacts with intelligence agencies in other countries, including some Arab states, in pursuit of its strategic objectives. These relationships were often complex and delicate, requiring careful cultivation and management. Early operations, successes and failures, case studies and analysis. The early years of Mossad, following its establishment in 1949, were characterized by a focus on securing Israel's borders, facilitating Jewish immigration, and gathering intelligence on potentially hostile Arab neighbors. While the capture of Adolf Eichmann and the fallout from the Lavon affair are well documented, numerous other operations shaped the agency's development and operational doctrines. These early endeavors showcase a mix of ingenuity, daring, and at times miscalculation, providing valuable lessons that influenced Mossad's future trajectory. Protecting Jewish immigration. A primary objective in Mossad's early years was to facilitate and protect Jewish immigration to Israel, particularly from countries where Jewish communities face persecution or restrictions. Operation Mural for instance, involved covertly assisting Jews in Morocco to immigrate to Israel despite legal prohibitions. This operation, carried out in the late 1950s and early 60s, required careful planning, coordination with local contacts, and the ability to evade authorities. While largely successful in bringing thousands of Jews to Israel, it also faced challenges, including logistical difficulties and the risk of exposure, which could have jeopardized the entire operation. Early conflicts with Egypt. Given Egypt's central role in the Arab world and its proximity to Israel, it was a key target for Mossad's intelligence gathering efforts. In the early 1950s, Mossad focused on understanding Egypt's military capabilities and intentions, particularly in the context of the ongoing Arab-Israeli conflict. Operations including cultivating sources within the Egyptian military, monitoring troop movements, and assessing the effectiveness of Egyptian weaponry. However, these efforts were not always successful. The Lavon affair, a botched attempt to sabotage Egyptian-American relations, revealed significant shortcomings in Mossad's operational planning and risk assessment capabilities, leading to a major scandal and a period of introspection within the agency. Gathering intelligence on Arab military capabilities. Another critical task for Mossad was to gather intelligence on the military capabilities of Arab states, particularly their acquisition of advanced weaponry. This involved a range of activities, from monitoring arms deals and intercepting communications to recruiting agents who could provide first-hand information on military installations and training exercises. While some operations yielded valuable intelligence that informed Israel's defense planning, others were less successful, highlighting the challenges of penetrating closed societies and dealing with sophisticated counterintelligence measures. The evolution of operational doctrines. The experiences of these early operations contributed to the evolution of Mossad's operational doctrines. The agency learned the importance of meticulous planning, thorough risk assessment, and the need for adaptability. In the face of unexpected challenges, the Lavon affair in particular led to reforms in the agency's oversight mechanisms and a greater emphasis on accountability. The successes in facilitating Jewish immigration highlighted the value of human intelligence and the ability to trust with local contacts. These lessons shaped Mossad's approach to intelligence gathering and covert action in the years that followed. Role of key individuals. Individuals like Isaiah Harel, who headed Mossad during its formative years, played a crucial role in shaping the agency's culture and operational style. Harel emphasizes the importance of secrecy, loyalty, and a willingness to take risks, instilling a sense of mission among Mossad operatives. Other key figures, such as Meir Amit, who later became the director of Mossad, brought new perspectives and expertise, further refining the agency's capabilities. The leadership of these individuals, combined with their experiences of the agency's early operations, laid the foundation for Mossad's future successes and its enduring role in protecting Israel's interests. Mossad's modus operandi, methods and controversies in depth. Mossad's operational methods are characterized by a blend of sophisticated intelligence gathering, meticulous planning, and at times highly controversial covert actions. These methods, honed over decades of operating in a complex and hostile environment, are crucial to understanding the agency's impact and the ethical debate surrounding its activities. Recruitment, the making of an operative. Mossad's recruitment process is famously selective. The agency seeks individuals with diverse backgrounds, including those with military experience, technological experience, language skills, and an understanding of Middle Eastern culture. A critical attribute is unwavering loyalty to the State of Israel. Recruiters often target individuals with a proven track record of success in high-pressure situations, looking for candidates who possess both intellectual acumen and emotional resilience. Psychological profiling plays a significant role in the selection process. Candidates undergo extensive psychological evaluations to assess their suitability for the unique demands of espionage. The agency seeks individuals who can maintain operational security, handle extreme stress, and make critical decisions under pressure. The ability to compartmentalize emotions and maintain a professional demeanor in morally ambiguous situations is highly valued. Training, forging resilience and expertise. Once selected, recruits undergo rigorous training that covers a wide range of skills, including tradecraft, espionage techniques, weapons handling, surveillance, and communication. The training program is designed to push recruits to their physical and psychological limits, testing their ability to perform under duress. A key component of the training is developing the ability to cultivate and manage sources. Operatives learn how to build trust, extract information, and protect their sources from detection. This requires a deep understanding of human psychology, cultural nuances, and the art of persuasion. They are taught how to identify vulnerabilities and exploit them to gain access to valuable intelligence. Maintaining operational security is paramount. Recruits are drilled on techniques for avoiding detection, concealing their identities, and communicating securely. They learn how to use encryption, navigate surveillance, and blend into foreign environments. The consequences of compromising operational security are emphasized, underscoring the importance of vigilance and discipline. Covert action, ethical considerations, and controversies. Mossad's use of covert action is perhaps the most controversial aspect of its operations. These actions have included targeted assassinations, sabotage operations, and the disruption of enemy activities. The agency defends these actions as necessary to protect Israel's security and prevent imminent threats, arguing that they are a last resort when all of their options have been exhausted. However, critics condemn these actions as violations of international law and morality. They argue that targeted assassinations undermine the rule of law and set a dangerous precedent. The potential for unintended consequences, such as civilian casualties and escalation of conflict, is a major concern. The ethical dilemmas surrounding covert action are complex, involving considerations of national security, proportionality, and the potential harm to innocent individuals. The use of technology for surveillance also raises ethical questions. While technology can enhance intelligence gathering capabilities, it also poses risks to privacy and civil liberties. Mossad must balance the need for effective surveillance with the imperative to protect individual rights. The Lilyhammer Affair, a deeper examination of failure. The Lilyhammer Affair stands as a stark reminder of the potential for catastrophic failure in intelligence operations. In July 1973, a Mossad team in Lillehammer, Norway, mistakenly assassinated Ahmed Bouchiki, an innocent Moroccan waiter, believing him to be Al-Hassan Salem, the chief of operations for Black September, the Palestinian groups responsible for the Munich Olympics massacre. This blunder not only cost an innocent man his life, but also severely damaged Mossad's reputation and exposed its methods to international scrutiny. The road to Lilyhammer. Following the Munich massacre in September 1972, Israel vowed to hunt down and eliminate those responsible. Mossad was tasked with Operation Wrath of God, a campaign to assassinate key figures in Black September. Ali Hassan Salem, known as the Red Prince, was a prime target. Mossad received information that Salome was planning an operation in Europe, leading a team to Lilyhammer based on flawed intelligence and misidentification. The mistaken identity and assassination. The Mossad team, led by Michael Harari, identified Bouchiki as Salome based on superficial similarities and circumstantial evidence. They failed to conduct thorough verification, relying on a single photograph and unreliable informants. On July 21, 1973, as Bouchiki and his pregnant wife were returning from a movie theater, the Mossad team ambushed them, shooting Bouchiki dead in broad daylight. The operation was immediately compromised when some of the operatives fled the scene carelessly, drawing attention to themselves. Within days, Norwegian police arrested several members of the Mossad team, including 2 Israelis posing as tourists. The arrest exposed the extent of the operation and the identities of the operatives involved. The captured agents provided details about Mossad's methods, safe houses, and operational procedures, further damaging the agency's image. The Norwegian government condemned the assassination and demanded answers from Israel. The incident led to a diplomatic crisis between Israel and Norway. The political fallout and lessons learned. The Lilyhammer affair had significant political repercussions for Israel. The scandal strained relations with Norway and other European countries, which were critical of Israel's disregard for international law and sovereignty. Within Mossad, The affair triggered a period of introspection and reform. An internal investigation revealed serious intelligence failures, including inadequate vetting of informants, reliance on flawed information, and a lack of proper oversight. Changes were implemented in Mossad's operational procedures to prevent similar incidents in the future, including stricter protocols for target identification, enhanced verification processes, and improved coordination between intelligence gathering and operational execution. The affair served as a harsh lesson about the importance of accuracy, thoroughness, and accountability in intel operations. Zionism and the evolution of Israeli politics. Zionist ideology has indelibly shaped the political landscape of Israel. Emerging in the late 19th century, Zionism evolved from a movement advocating for Jewish self-determination to a complex set of beliefs influencing nearly every aspect of Israeli governance and society. Understanding this evolution is crucial for grasping the nuances of Israeli politics. The spectrum of Zionist parties. Israel politics has long been characterized by a diverse array of Zionist parties, each with its own interpretation of Zionist principles and its vision for the state. These parties can be broadly categorized as follows. Labor Zionism dominated early Israeli politics, emphasizing social justice and collective agriculture. Parties like Mapai, later Labor, shaped policies focused on building a strong welfare state and promoting egalitarianism. Revisionist Zionism, advocating for a more assertive foreign policy and a greater emphasis on national security. Likud, emerging from this tradition, championed free market economics and a more hardline stance on territorial issues. Religious Zionism sought to integrate religious law and values into Israeli society. The National Religious Party, non-Jewish home, advocated for settlement construction in the West Bank and a greater role for religious institutions in public life. Centrist Zionism. Parties like Kadima aim to bridge the gap between left and right, focusing on pragmatic solutions to security and economic challenges. Impact on key policy areas. Zionist ideology has a profound influence on Israeli policies in several key areas. Immigration, the law of return, granting Jews worldwide the right to immigrate to Israel and gain citizenship, is a cornerstone of Zionist ideology. This policy has shaped Israel's demographic composition and its relationship with the Jewish diaspora. Settlement construction. The construction of Israeli settlements in the West Bank is deeply intertwined with Zionist beliefs about reclaiming and developing the historical land of Israel. This policy has been a major source of international controversy and an obstacle to peace negotiations with the Palestinians. Defense, a strong military, and commitment to national security are central tenets of Zionism, particularly in light of the country's history of conflict with its neighbors. Israel's defense policies, including mandatory military service and a robust intelligence apparatus, reflect this emphasis. Challenges to traditional Zionism. Traditional Zionist ideology faces increasing challenges from both the left and right within Israeli society. The left-wing criticism. Critics on the left argue that Zionism has led to the displacement and dispossession of the Palestinians, and that the Israeli policies have perpetuated the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. They advocate for a more inclusive and egalitarian society that respects the rights of all its citizens and residents. Right-wing dissent. On the right, some argue that traditional Zionism has become too diluted and that Israel should pursue a more expansionist and religiously oriented agenda. They advocate for the annexation of the West Bank and a greater role for religious law in public life. Diverse perspectives within Israeli society. Israeli society encompasses a wide range of perspectives on Zionism, reflecting the country's diverse ethnic, religious, and political makeup. Secular Jews may view Zionism primarily as a political project aimed at ensuring the survival and security of the Jewish people. Religious Jews often see it as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy and a divinely ordained mission. Arab citizens of Israel, who constitute a significant minority, often view Zionism with ambivalence or outright opposition, citing its role in the displacement of Palestinians and the creation of a state that prioritizes Jewish identity. Mossad and regional conflicts, the Arab-Israeli Wars. The Arab-Israeli Wars identified defining moments in the history of the Middle East and integral to understanding Mossad's development and operational focus. From the Suez Crisis to the Yom Kippur War, these conflicts were shaped significantly by intelligence gathering and strategic actions in which Mossad played a crucial role. This section examines Mossad's involvement in these conflicts, detailing its contributions to Israeli military strategies and its successes and failures in predicting and responding to threats. The Suez Crisis, 1956. In the lead up to the Suez Crisis, Mossad focused on gathering intelligence about Egyptian military capabilities and intentions under President Gamal Abdel Nasser. A key objective was to assess the strength of Egypt's newly acquired Soviet weaponry and its potential impact on the regional balance of power. Mossad agents cultivated sources within Egyptian government and military, providing valuable insights into Egypt's strategic thinking. This intelligence helped Israel coordinate its military strategy with France and the United Kingdom, leading to the joint invasion of the Sinai Peninsula. The Six-Day War, 1967. Prior to the Six-Day War, tensions between Israel and its Arab neighbors had been escalating for years. Mossad played a pivotal role in gathering intelligence about military capabilities and intentions of Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. Key to Israel's preemptive strike was the intelligence regarding Egypt's Air Force deployments. Mossad provided crucial information that allowed the Israeli Air Force to decimate the Egyptian Air Force in a surprise attack, effectively securing aerial superiority. This intelligence success was a major factor in Israel's swift victory. However, some argue that the focus on air power overshadowed other intelligence needs, potentially impacting later strategic decisions. The War of Attrition, 1967 to 1970. During the War of Attrition, a sustained conflict along the Suez Canal, Mossad focused on gathering real-time intelligence about Egyptian military movements and fortifications. The agency developed sophisticated surveillance techniques to monitor Egyptian troop movements and deployments in artillery positions. Mossad also conducted covert operations to disrupt Egyptian military activities and sabotage key infrastructure. These efforts helped Israel maintain its defensive posture along the Suez Canal and inflict heavy casualties on Egyptian forces. The Yom Kippur War, 1973. The Yom Kippur War presented a significant intelligence failure for Mossad. Despite having sources within the Egyptian government, the agency failed to provide sufficient warning of the impending joint attack by Egypt and Syria. This intelligence lapse caught Israel off guard and led to heavy initial losses. However, Mossad quickly recalibrated, providing critical intelligence during the war that helped Israel regain the initiative. For example, intelligence on Syrian troop movement allowed Israel to concentrate its forces and repel the Syrian advance on the Golan Heights. The agency's ability to adapt and provide timely intelligence during the conflict helped to mitigate the initial setbacks. This failure led to significant reforms in Mossad's intelligence assessment and dissemination process. Specific operations and impact. Throughout these wars, Mossad conducted various covert operations that had a direct impact on the outcomes. These included infiltrating enemy command structures, sabotaging military equipment, and gathering real-time intelligence from the front lines. The agency's ability to recruit and manage assets within enemy territories was crucial in providing valuable information. However, not all operations were successful, and some resulted in significant losses and setbacks for Israel. Examining these specific operations provides insight into the agency's tactics and strategies during wartime. Successes and failures in threat prediction. Mossad's performance in predicting and responding to threats during the Arab-Israel wars were mixed. While the agency achieved significant success in gathering intelligence and supporting military operations, it also experienced notable failures, such as the intelligence lapse leading up to the Yom Kippur War. Analyzing these successes and failures provides valuable lessons about the challenges of intelligence gathering in a complex and volatile region. Factors such as over-reliance on certain sources, biases in analysis, and the difficulty of penetrating deeply entrenched enemy networks all contributed to these outcomes. The agency learned from these experiences, leading to reforms in intelligence gathering and analysis methods. Zionism, Mossad, and the Palestinian question. The relationship between Zionism, Mossad, and the Palestinian question is deeply intertwined and fraught with complexities. Zionist ideology, with its emphasis on establishing and maintaining a Jewish state in Palestine, has profoundly influenced Israeli policy towards the Palestinians. Mossad, as the intelligence arm of the Israeli state, has played a significant role in monitoring and countering Palestinian resistance movements, shaping the dynamics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Zionist ideology and Israeli policy towards Palestinians. Zionism in its various forms have informed Israeli policies concerning land ownership, settlement construction, and the overall treatment of Palestinians. The core tenet of Zionism, the right of the Jewish people to self-determination in their ancestral homeland. Before I go any further on what I've written, most Ashkenazi Jews, most people who make up the Israeli nation and state, modern Jews, are not the biblical Jews. And when we talk about an ancestral homeland, this is simply these people converted to Judaism in the Middle Ages and do not share any DNA with the biblical Jews. First of all, before I go back to what I've written, it needs to be noted that these are people are religiously Jewish, but they're not ethnically Jewish, and are of European descent from what is now Ukraine and Poland. Zionism in its various forms has informed Israeli policies. It is important to acknowledge the diversity of viewpoints within Zionism itself. While some Zionist thinkers advocate for a two-state solution and peaceful coexistence with the Palestinians, others support a greater Israel encompassing all of the West Bank and Gaza Strip with limited or no Palestinian sovereignty. It's part of Assad's policy to have controlled opposition. And, I would not be surprised if Hamas itself was not created or funded in large part by Mossad. And that potentiality has been discussed among people who know how these things work. Mossad has been tasked with monitoring and countering Palestinian resistance movement, as which Israel views as threats to its security. This has involved gathering intelligence on Palestinian organizations, disrupting their operations, and at times carrying out targeted assassinations of Palestinian leaders. Mossad's activities in this realm have a direct impact on the lives of Palestinians, contributing to a climate of fear and mistrust. These actions are viewed very differently depending on one's point of view, with some seeing them as necessary for Israeli security, and others viewing them as acts of aggression and violations of international law. Multiple perspectives on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Before I go back to what I wrote, which I might not even go back to, the Palestinians, by any measure, are barely anything more than a bunch of starving children. They're among the most young demographic in the world, and have almost no legitimate means to defend themselves at this point. I've even pretty much anything being done against Palestinians in today's sphere as violations of international law. These people are damn near helpless, and they're just being massacred in mass as the world watches. Mossad in the 21st century, new threats, new challenges. The 21st century has brought a new wave of challenges for intelligence agencies worldwide, and Mossad is no exception. The rise of global terrorism, the proliferation of cyber warfare, and the continued threat of weapons of mass destruction demand new strategies, tactics, and ethical considerations. Countering terrorism. Terrorism remains a primary concern for Mossad, with the emergence of transnational terrorist organizations like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Almost all of these terrorist organizations are developed by the West to begin with. You cannot get good information on this from mainstream sources whatsoever, but that's a fact. That's just
how this world operates. Cyber warfare. The digital age has opened up new avenues for espionage and sabotage. Cyber warfare poses a significant threat to critical infrastructure, government systems, and national security. Mossad has invested heavily in developing its cyber capabilities, both defensively and offensively. The agency must protect Israel's vital assets from cyber attacks while also using cyber tools to gather intelligence and disrupt enemy operations. This includes developing advanced intrusion detection systems, conducting vulnerability assessments, and training personnel to defend against cyber threats. Offensive cyber capabilities are used to disrupt enemy communications, steal sensitive information, and sabotage critical infrastructure. The ethical and legal implications of cyber warfare are particularly complex as the lines between espionage and aggression become increasingly blurred. International norms and regulations governing cyber warfare are still evolving, and Mossad must navigate this uncertain legal landscape while protecting Israel's interests. Weapons of mass destruction. The proliferation of weapons of mass destruction remains a top priority for Mossad. In particular, Iran's nuclear ambitions have been a major focus of the agency's efforts. Mossad has been implicated in covert operations aimed at sabotaging Iran's nuclear program and assassinating key Iranian scientists. These actions, while controversial, are seen by some as necessary to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. However, the risk of such operations are high, as they could lead to escalation and further destabilize the region. In addition to Iran, Mossad monitors other countries and non-state actors that may be seeking to develop or acquire WMDs. This requires a combination of traditional intelligence gathering methods, such as human intelligence and signals intelligence, as well as advanced technical capabilities for detecting and analyzing nuclear materials and technology. Ethical and legal considerations in the digital age. The rise of digital technologies has raised new ethical and legal questions for intelligence agencies. Mass surveillance, data mining, and the use of artificial intelligence raise concerns about privacy, civil liberties, and the potential for abuse. Mossad must navigate these challenges while maintaining its effectiveness in protecting Israel's security. Transparency and oversight are crucial to ensuring the agency's activities are conducted within ethical and legal boundaries, or not. This includes implementing robust safeguards to protect personal data, ensuring that surveillance activities are properly authorized and subject to judicial review, and providing avenues for individuals to seek redress if their rights are violated. They're not going to do any of that. That's ridiculous. The use of AI in intelligence gathering raises particularly complex ethical questions, as algorithms can perpetuate biases and lead to discriminatory outcomes. Mossad must ensure that its AI systems are fair, transparent, and accountable, and human oversight is maintained at all times. These people are not going to do anything that doesn't serve their interests, and expecting them to abide by anything normal or rational is insane. Or, I mean, this is true of any. The intel world is run off of organized crime and all manner of illegal shit, and to expect legality and rational ethical behavior from shit like from anything that Mossad or anybody else is involved in is an absurdity I will not indulge. We can just hope that, you know, it's not devolved into too much degeneracy, and that ethically minded people can overcome it. Criminality in intelligence networks stems from a World War II necessity in which the dock workers in New York City were run by the mob, and the national security apparatus had to work with the mob to protect dock workers in the docks in New York City. And because of this led to organized crime being intimately involved in the entire operations. And if this is not fixed sometime soon, like it's gonna keep allowing criminal shit to happen. And this is like colored the whole way in which business is conducted in that world since. Back to the script. In a world of instant information and increased public awareness, Intelligence agencies face greater scrutiny than ever before. Leaks, whistleblowers, and investigative journalism have exposed covert operations and challenged the secrecy that traditionally shrouds intelligence activities. Mossad must adapt to this new environment by becoming more transparent and accountable. This includes strengthening oversight mechanisms and engaging the public, and being willing to acknowledge and learn from past mistakes. Independent oversight bodies, such as parliamentary committees and inspector generals, play a crucial role in ensuring that intelligence agencies are operating within the law and respecting ethical standards. That's ridiculous. Public engagement is also essential for building trust and maintaining legitimacy. Mossad could consider declassifying historical documents, providing more information about its activities to the public, and engaging in open dialogue with civil society organizations and journalists. The human cost, individuals caught in the crossfire. The Israeli Palestinian conflict is often discussed in terms of politics, security, and territory. Behind the headlines and policy debates are the individual lives profoundly affected by the ongoing violence, espionage, and political instability. Both Israelis and Palestinians have experienced loss, displacement, and trauma as a result of the conflict. Zionism and diaspora Jewry, a complex relationship. Zionism's emergence had a profound and multifaceted impact on Jewish communities around the world, collectively known as diaspora Jewry. This relationship is characterized by varying degrees of support, ideological differences, and the ongoing negotiation of Jewish identity in a world both shaped and challenged by the existence of the State of Israel. Influence on Jewish identity. For many diaspora Jews, Zionism provided a renewed sense of collective identity and purpose. The establishment of Israel offered a safe haven and a source of pride, particularly in the aftermath of the Holocaust. Jewish identity became increasingly intertwined with support for Israel, often expressed through political activism, philanthropy, and cultural engagement. However, this identification is not uniform, and some Jews find themselves grappling with the complexities of aligning their Jewish values with Israeli policies. Support for Zionism within diaspora Jewish communities is not monolithic. While a significant portion actively supports Israel through financial contributions and advocacy, others hold more critical views. Some may identify as cultural Jews, embracing their heritage and traditions without necessarily endorsing the political ideology of Zionism. Others express concerns about Israeli policies towards Palestinians, leading them to question their support for the state. This diversity of opinion reflects the broad spectrum of Jewish thought and experiences in the diaspora. Challenges and dilemmas for critics. Diaspora Jews who are critical of Israeli policies often face significant challenges. They may encounter accusations of disloyalty or anti Semitism, making it difficult to voice their concerns openly. Navigating this tension between their Jewish identity and political views can be particularly challenging. Despite these difficulties, many diaspora Jews continue to advocate for a more just and equitable resolution to the Israeli Palestinian conflict, believing that constructive criticism is essential for the long term well being of both Israel and the Jewish people. Mossad and international relations, allies and enemies. Mossad's clandestine nature necessitates a complex web of relationships with other intel agencies, oscillating between cooperation and conflict. These interactions significantly shape Israel's foreign policy and international standing. Rivalries and conflicts. Mossad's, Mossad's relationship with Russian intelligence agencies such as the FSB and SVR is characterized by a mix of cautious interaction and outright rivalry. While there may be occasional cooperation on specific counterterrorism threats, fundamental differences in strategic interests and geopolitical alignments often lead to conflict. Allegations of Russian support for Israel's adversaries in the Middle East, coupled with instances of cyber espionage, underscore the adversarial aspects of this relationship. Furthermore, historical incidents involving the defection or capture of agents from both sides contribute to an atmosphere of distrust. Shaping foreign policy. Mossad plays a pivotal role in shaping Israel's foreign policy by providing critical intel assessments and conducting covert operations that support diplomatic objectives. The agency's actions can directly impact Israel's relationship with other countries, particularly in the Middle East. For example, Mossad's alleged involvement in the assassination of Iranian nuclear scientists has been interpreted as both a defense of Israel's security and a destabilizing force in the region. Similarly, intelligence gathering on Arab states informs Israel's strategic planning and diplomatic initiatives. The agency also functions as a channel for secret communications and back channel negotiations with countries that do not have formal diplomatic ties with Israel. International perceptions of Israel. Mossad's actions inevitably influence international perceptions of Israel. While some view the agency as a necessary tool for defending Israel's interests in a hostile environment, others criticize its methods as reckless and illegal. High-profile operations, such as the assassination of Mahmoud al-Mahama in Dubai, have drawn international condemnation and damaged Israel's reputation. The agency's perceived disregard for international law and norms can contribute to a negative image of Israel as a rogue state. Conversely, successful operations that prevent terrorist attacks or thwart the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction may enhance Israel's standing as a responsible global actor. The challenge for Israel is to balance the need for effective intelligence gathering and covert action with the imperative to maintain international legitimacy and goodwill. The future of Zionism, adapting to a changing world. Predicting the future of any ideology is complex, especially one as historically significant and politically charged as Zionism. As the world undergoes rapid transformation, Zionism too must adapt to address new challenges and opportunities. This section explores potential trajectories for Zionism in the face of technological advancements, demographic shifts, and geopolitical realignments, while emphasizing that these are possibilities rather than certainties. Technological advancements in the digital diaspora. Technological advancements could reshape the relationship between Israel and the Jewish diaspora. Virtual communities, online education, and remote work opportunities may strengthen connections between Jews worldwide, regardless of their physical location. A digital Zionism could emerge, focusing on leveraging technology to promote Jewish culture, education, and advocacy for Israel. However, this also presents challenges, such as combating online anti Semitism and maintaining meaningful engagement in a virtual community. The metaverse and augmented reality could offer immersive experiences of Israeli culture and history, fostering deeper connections and exacerbating existing divides through echo chambers. Demographic shifts and evolving identities. Demographic shifts within both Israel and the diaspora will also influence the future of Zionism. In Israel, the growing population of the ultra Orthodox Jews and Arab citizens presents challenges to the traditional Zionist narrative. The increasing political power of these groups could lead to tensions over issues such as religious freedom, national identity, and the allocation of resources. In the diaspora, increasing rates of intermarriage and secularization may lead to a weakening ties with Israel. These trends could lead to new interpretations of Zionism that emphasize inclusivity, pluralism, and social justice. The definition of Jewish identity itself might broaden, encompassing diverse cultural and spiritual expressions beyond traditional religious observance. Mossad's legacy, successes, failures, and lasting impact. After more than 7 decades of operations, Mossad's legacy is complex and multifaceted. It is marked by both remarkable successes and significant failures, which have profoundly impacted Israel's security, international relations, and the broader geopolitical landscape. Assessing the legacy requires a balanced perspective, acknowledging the agency's contributions while critically examining the ethical and legal implications of its actions. Major successes. Mossad has achieved several notable successes that have significantly enhanced Israel's security. The capture of Adolf Eichmann in 1960 remains one of its most iconic achievements, demonstrating the agency's reach and determination to bring perpetrators of heinous crimes to justice. Additionally, Mossad has been credited with disrupting numerous terrorist plots, preventing attacks on Israeli targets, and gathering critical intelligence during times of war. These successes have undoubtedly contributed to Israel's survival and security in a volatile region. Significant failures. However, Mossad's history is also punctuated by significant failures that have had far-reaching consequences. The Yom Kippur War intelligence failure in 1973, where the agency failed to provide adequate warning of the impending attack, resulted in heavy losses in the national crisis. The Lillehammer affair, in which innocent waiter Ahmed Bouchiki was mistakenly assassinated in Norway, severely damaging Mossad's reputation and raising serious questions about its operational methods. These failures highlight the inherent risks and challenges of intelligence work and the potential for devastating errors. Mossad's activities have consistently raised ethical and legal concerns. Targeted assassinations, covert operations in foreign countries, and the use of deceptive tactics have sparked international condemnation and fueled debates about the agency's adherence to international law and human rights standards. While proponents argue that such actions are necessary for Israel's defense, critics contend that they undermine the rule of law and erode trust in international institutions. The ethical dilemmas surrounding Mossad's operations remain a subject of intense debate. The new political reality. Throughout this podcast series, we've navigated the intricate relationship between Mossad, Zionism, and the ever-shifting political landscape. We've explored Zionism's historical evolution, from its roots as a response to anti-Semitism to its diverse interpretations in contemporary Israeli politics. We examine Mossad's birth as a protector of the nascent state, its controversial methods, which again, this is not um, unique to Mossad. All governments around the world all do this shit. And its role in regional conflicts, including its complex involvement in the Palestinian question. We have also acknowledged the human cost of the conflict and explored Zionism's complex relationship with diaspora Jewry, as well as Mossad's international relations. Finally, we pondered the future of Zionism and assessed Mossad's legacy. These elements formed a tangled web shaping the new political reality of the Middle East. The challenges facing Israel and the region are immense. Finding a path towards peaceful resolution requires critical thinking, a deep understanding of history, and a willingness to acknowledge multiple perspectives. There are no easy answers, and the path forward demands a commitment to dialogue, empathy, and justice. It's crucial to recognize that simplistic narratives often fail to capture the full complexity of the situation. Both Zionism and Mossad are multifaceted entities with diverse interpretations and operational realities. Oversimplifying these elements risks perpetuating misunderstandings and hindering progress towards peace. We've challenged conventional narratives and encouraged you to critically examine the information presented. Now we urge you to continue exploring these topics. Consult diverse sources and form your own informed opinions. The future of this region depends on informed citizens engaging in thoughtful discourse and advocating for a more just and peaceful world. We hope this podcast has served as a starting point for further exploration and critical engagement with these complex issues. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the complex world of Mossad and Zionism. The content presented in this podcast is blah blah blah. I'm not doing that. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This is only a podcast on Mossad and Zionism would automatically get spit out disclaimers and shit. And let that just remind you of how controversial this subject is. But for as everything, you need to do your own research and kind of form your own opinions. Thanks for being here with me and for making your own opinion and hearing what I have to say. I'm a cigarette smoking man. We're gonna win.